Hello folks, it's Town Supervisor Joseph D. Cavaccini coming to you on this beautiful day from the equally beautiful town-owned Carnwath Farms historic site and park. I am joined today by my colleagues in government, past and present. One of my predecessors, former Town Supervisor Joe Ruggiero. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you.
And our Town Clerk and former Town Councilman Joe Paoloni.
Thank you.
Today, we stand before you in front of the Carnwath Manor, which is an 1850 pre-restoration structure which served as the primary residence on this property for well over 100 years, to discuss a number of things that are before the town government today, especially for this property. This structure has long been the topic of political debate and debate throughout the town. And now we're here with some hopefully exciting news, and I want to continue to get our residents, our neighbors involved in the process and be as transparent as possible with potential future plans for this site. Following the town's acquisition of the property in 1999, Supervisor Ruggiero, former Supervisor Smith, embarked on a number of plans, and which ultimately resulted in a master plan being adopted in 2007 for the future use and rehabilitation of this property and of this building. Some of the proposed uses that were outlined in the adopted master plan include converting this mansion here into a bed and breakfast, the chapel into an event space, but engaging in various public-private partnerships at no cost to taxpayers to basically offer this site to the public, allow it to be used, rather than be shuttered as this structure has been for about 25 years now. Again, as we outlined before, potential uses, a proposed bed and breakfast, and a event space. That is what we potentially have before us today. At our most recent town board meeting, the August 19th board meeting, I introduced a resolution before the town board to entertain the possible public-private partnership between the town of Wappinger and interested investors to rent this structure here and the chapel from the town to do just that, to operate a bed and breakfast, to have this be open to the public, and have event spaces here on this property, again at no cost to taxpayers, and following through with that adopted master plan, that vision set forth many years ago. We encourage you to give us your opinions and your thoughts on this as well. This is something that we believe would be a huge asset to the town. Again, this property not only has been the subject of vandalism, but other types of non-interested activity, and has been a blight on the neighborhood, and we hope to turn that around. Rather than it being seen as a money pit, it is not. Have it be an actual asset and a destination here in this town that all of our residents will enjoy moving forward. We're going to have a few more thoughts on this, but I'd like to call up former Supervisor Ruggiero for some thoughts as well, if you wouldn't mind.
Well, I just want to commend Joe and the town board, and well, let me encourage the town board. We're not quite there yet, and I appreciate Supervisor Cavaccini's vision, a vision that we shared some 25 years ago when we advocated to save this property. You know, back in 1999, Supervisor Smith had an opportunity. This place went up for sale, and it was in a private, a not-for-profit's hands, and they were looking to sell it, and realtors wanted to gobble up the property, cut it up into hundreds of pieces, and make another major development. And Connie Smith, to her credit, saw something too beautiful to allow to go to the wayside. And even the people selling the not-for-profit that was selling this, they were anguished about selling this to have it torn apart and chopped up into just another neighborhood. So they invited us out here, and Joe and I came with Connie, and it was a no-brainer as soon as we stepped foot on the property. We didn't know this hidden jewel was here, and we saw immediately town of Wappinger's Central Park. on that scale, and being one of the most historic properties, not only in the town, but along the river, and we could join in that necklace of famous manors up and down the river. You know, it was a year battle. We started in '99. We actually voted in 2000, and Joe and I, out of our own pockets, mailed flyers to our respective wards.
$5.
$5. I was telling Joe about this. And, you know, at the time, we needed 4 votes to bond, and we had 3. Connie, myself, and Joe, and the other 2 board members weren't convinced yet. I'll leave it at that. And we had the public come out, but it was overwhelmingly supportive. Overwhelmingly supportive. And you very rarely see an outpouring of such enthusiasm, support, and determination to, one, have some real open space preservation, but really an investment into the future of the town for a park. And they did. And as Joe said, we had sent out a flyer, I think it was in Joe's letter, he said he equated to, it wouldn't be more than $5 a year in your taxes. And folks were coming, waving a $5 bill in the audience. So the overwhelming weight of the public support convinced the other 2 gentlemen to move in second, and it passed unanimously. And here we are today. Now, from that time to now, there has been a lot of public support and input into what the vision of this property would be. We put a permanent easement across the 99 acres so they could never, ever be alienated as parkland. But what we did was we created a donut hole inside of that footprint. And these buildings was in that donut hole so we could create some sort of public-private partnership. That was the view back then. Some 20-something years ago, a group of citizens came together. We held charrettes here, and we planned out or visioned out what the future could be. And during my term, there were a couple opportunities that came forward from local businesses, and some folks wanted to invest and make it a facility for weddings and other places. At one point, it was going to be an estuary for a place where children with special needs could come and get horse therapy, with animal therapy. So there was many things considered. None of them ever really panned out in that time. But now we have an opportunity, from what I've been told, a major opportunity, and one that we cannot turn our backs on, because this is a once-in-a-generation thing. When we were discussing this supervisor wasn't even around.
I was not in the picture then.
No, you weren't. But now we're here. We have a private investor who wants to assume the risk, who wants to put the money in to restore this building, turn it into a bed and breakfast, and then in exchange, we'll get a revenue stream. So, you know, it's been 20 years. The bonds have been paid off on this building. The bonds have been paid off on what construction and maintenance we did in the early 2000s. And now this could be a positive cash flow for the town. Like I said, this is a no-brainer. I commend you for the work you're doing. The town board only needs 3 votes to do this. We needed 4 for a supermajority. This is approving a lease and a public-private partnership. So we just need 1 more vote. And I'm confident within a week from now, or in a couple weeks when you have your meeting, we're going to get those votes. And history will repeat itself, and this too shall pass, but in a good way. So with that, I commend you, and I look forward to doing what I can do. I'll come out of retirement for a couple weeks and help push the issue one more time.
Thank you. Thank you, Joe.
You're welcome.
Thank you, my friend. So again, to briefly recap, we have an opportunity here, folks, that would have a public-private partnership here on this property, this long shuttered building that has not been generating any source of revenue, any source of use by our residents for nearly 2 decades now, has an opportunity to become something much greater than it is now. A destination for our residents to use. There would be a number of other improvements made on this property. And that is what we're looking for. Again, a beautiful public-private partnership, no risk to taxpayers at all. And again, a steady, thank you for noting that, a steady stream of revenue that would go into our parks and recreation, even though it's not really about the revenue. It's about getting this place used and operational for all to use. Thank you very much for tuning in today. And again, please feel free to contact my office with any questions or concerns you may have. My door is always open. And again, we're looking forward to having these ongoing discussions at future town board meetings as well. Thank you very much. So again, as we just previously noted, this structure has been shuttered for 20 years. No real vision obviously put forward following the master plan, and a number of subsequent administrations have come and gone. What I do want to show you is this, the significant deterioration that has occurred following the town's initial investments in the early 2000s. We have two options here, folks. One, pursue a public-private partnership to have a private entity take on this structure in a lease agreement to offer a bed and breakfast and limited impact use on the property in the neighborhood, or we allow this property to continue to sit and deteriorate. This structure is on the National and State Historic Registers as well, so it's not like you can go and tear it down either, and the cost of tearing it down, the cost of a wrecking ball, is obviously something that the town would have to face. Entering into a public-private partnership is no cost to taxpayers, so I do want to show you the impact of the neglect and deterioration on this structure.
What has to be understood is no different than our water and sewer pipes and our roads and bridges. Parks are part of our infrastructure, and maintenance deferred is maintenance denied. And this is what has happened. We put several hundred thousands of dollars to stabilize the buildings in the early 2000s because the center stairwell was sinking, and we had tons of photos. I don't know if they're still in the files from Don Schwartz. I had them document every little thing, how we fortified the building. And since 2008 till now, that nothing has happened to continue that maintenance to preserve the building is alarming, but that's going to change. And again, public-private partnership, no risk to the taxpayers. It's a win-win. I don't see how anyone could not vote for this.